Welcome back. You're watching The Independent Republic of Mike Graham right here on TalkTV. We cover the police's woeful failure to tackle the shoplifting epidemic on this show a lot. And I'm not exaggerating when I call it an epidemic. A report by the group representing 49,000 small shopkeepers said they fell victim to an unfathomable 5.6 million thefts in 2023. That's 5 times as many as the year before, when it was 1.1 million across the country. Worse still, shopkeepers' safety is at risk as well. 76,000 acts of violence were recorded in small shops last year alone, up from 41,000 the year before. And for the average store, the cost of anti-crime measures and all those stolen products is an insane £6,800 each year. According to the Association of Convenience Stores, that surveyed the shops. That means each time we go shopping, we're effectively paying a crime tax of 10 pence. With me in the studio is former Scotland Yard Detective Chief Inspector Mike Neville. But let's speak first to the former owner of the 99p store chain, Hussein Lalani. Hussein, a very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on Talk TV. Those are some pretty ridiculous statistics, aren't they? I mean, that's millions and millions and millions of pounds. To say it's worth 6,000 odd pounds to every shopkeeper sounds like a small amount of money, but it may well be much more than that. This is an epidemic, isn't it?
This is an epidemic and it is out of control. And although £6,800 may not sound like a huge amount, if you're running a small mum and pop convenience store, you might only be making £30,000 or £40,000 a year.
Right.
So you're losing nearly 20% of your annual revenue to shoplifting. And, you know, these small mum and pop shops, they feed and house an entire family or support a whole family. So you've got the small shops who suffer the hardest, because they can't afford a security guard. They can't afford to put tags on all their products.
Right. And what's, in your understanding of the business these days, what's the kind of reaction been? Are a lot of small shop owners just given up, or are they planning to give up?
In my experience, I currently run a health club, and one of my members had a small convenience store, and he just gave up. Last year, he sold it and said, I've had enough. You know, I don't want to sit in my shop worrying about what gang's going to come in and, you know, wave a baseball bat at me and then, you know, clear my shelves of all my cigarettes and booze.
Exactly right. Let me bring in Mike Neville here. Mike, I mean, this is a terrible, terrible blight on society, because it's civilised society that needs to run in order for everybody to know that they're safe to walk down the street, safe to go to the local shop, to know the shop is not going to be under siege. I mean, what's going on?
It's just out of control, isn't it? I mean, I did a Freedom of Information Act request and found out that 70% of the Mets hadn't arrested anybody in a year. So, you know, shoplifters should be your basic thing to arrest. Yeah. And there's also all sorts of... They try and portray it as this little old lady stealing a tin of cat
It's
food.
really not.
It is not. It is drug addicts, it's alcoholics, and it's violent, organised criminals who are targeting these shops. And as you said, the worrying thing is like the rise in violence as well, because what's happening now is that these people feel entitled to steal.
Right.
So the moment somebody tries to stop them, they face being stabbed, having a dirty drug needle stuck in them and stuff like that. So, and as you say, it's this breakdown of civil society that, and if you live on a quite rough area, that you feel unsafe to go out. So the old lady feels unsafe to go into the post office, convenience store, and it just makes people's lives misery. And as was indicated by the previous guest, that person who's running that convenience store, why would you put yourself on offer like that?
No, exactly right. And I mean, to come back to you, Hussein, I mean, is it the case that, say, for example, these people are stealing on order, if you like they're going down the local shop and saying, well, we'll just steal a load of bottles of whiskey and then sell them on? It's not even as if they're stealing, you know, for their own purposes, right?
I think you've got different types of shoplifters. You have the organised gangs now who will go in and steal to order. They know that they can sell this product on in the market or the local pub. You've got other thieves who who consider themselves entitled, and they said it's just too easy. For example, my wife was in Waitrose last week, waiting in line to pay for some goods, and a chap just walked in, had a look at the shelf of sushi, packed sushi, picked up a box and just walked out.
Right. And
nobody's going to stop him, because the security guard, the staff in the shops, they're not going to risk life and limb over a box of sushi. No. And, you know, the other problem is, fine, you make a call to the police, they give you a crime reference number, and that's the end of that. They're under-resourced. They don't have, you know, the manpower and the resources to go after these guys. No. Even if you've got CCTV footage of the criminal often what can they do with that? Because they'll be wearing a mask or a hood or balaclava. It's just a downward spiral. And I think the only way we can get out of this is by putting more money into the police force and giving them the resources to have more bobbies on the beats and to make sure that these thieves know that, you know, there is a consequence to their actions.
I mean, some of the, thanks very much indeed. Some of the stuff we're seeing here on the screens tonight, Mike, is very brazen, though, isn't it? You've got guys jumping over counters. If you pick up, I suppose, I don't know, 20 packets of cigarettes, you could sell that for 200 quid, can't you?
Down the pub, down you go.
Yeah.
But some of it lies that the politicians, for example, Theresa May, she introduced a law where anything less than £200 could be dealt with, you know, as a summary only magistrate's offence. So it wasn't arrestable, wouldn't be dealt with. And also, we've now got a government saying that we won't do 12-month prison sentences. So if you're an organised shoplifter, you just target £199, and knowing full well, even if you've got 1% of being caught, if you get caught, you won't go to jail, so you can just carry on and carry on. So the wrong messages have been sent out. But one of the things I would disagree with saying about is that the police do have resources if they target them. And all these stores have got CCTV. These people, if there's 100 thefts, there's not 100 thieves.
Yeah.
It'll be 10 thieves doing 10 each.
Yeah.
All they've got to do is link those images together, and then you arrest the person, not for one crime, but for 10.
Yeah.
The record I had was 43.
Yes.
So it can be done.
Right. They just need to focus.